Hey guys, welcome to another video. Today I will be showing you guys how to crochet chicken nuggets. So these chicken nuggets are super easy to make. I've already made a tutorial on these chicken nuggets before, but in that tutorial I was using a thicker yarn, a weight 7 yarn, so I will do a little upgraded version of that video with a weight 6 yarn. So here are the materials you're going to need to make these chicken nuggets. So I use this yarn from Michaels. It is Chenille Home Slim Loops and Threads, and this color is mustard. So this is my favorite yarn to use for chicken nuggets, but there's so many alternatives out there. Then you're going to need a crochet hook. Obviously, this is a 6mm crochet hook. If you're using a different yarn and you feel more comfortable with a different sized hook, that's okay. I'm just showing you guys the size that I am using for this specific yarn. Next, you will need a yarn needle or darning needle. There's just different names for the same thing. I just use one plastic one like this. You will need a stitch marker to mark where you start each row. You will need just literally this much black yarn. I'm just using an acrylic piece of yarn, but you can use cotton, acrylic. I try to stick with thinner yarn because this will be to embroider the mouth on our chicken nuggets, so I don't want it to be too thick. You'll need a pair of scissors. You'll need some stuffing or polyfill, whatever you want to call it. You don't need a lot for one chicken nugget. This is going to be more than enough for one chicken nugget. And lastly, you will need safety eyes. I use 10mm safety eyes, but if you want to use just yarn and embroider the eyes as well as the mouth, that is up to you. You can do that. Sometimes I embroider the complete face of my chicken nuggets so they can be given to babies or small children, so there's no choking hazard with the safety eyes. But I do think they are really cute with the safety eyes, so I use 10mm safety eyes for these guys. So this is a very easy crochet pattern to make, but I will not be explaining every stitch individually, so you will need to know the basic stitches of crochet to make this chicken nugget. But if you do know the basic crochet stitches, you will be completely fine to make this chicken nugget. So let's get started. So what you want to do once you find the end of your yarn, so you're going to do a slip knot. We are not going to be starting this pattern with a magic ring, so just a slip knot like this and slip this right onto your hook. You can tighten it how you like, and we will chain 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now you're going to want to single crochet in the 3rd chain from the hook. 1, 2, 3. I know some people might say you don't have to leave 2 chains, but I like to do that. So the 2 chains that we didn't crochet into will count as a stitch. So we've done 1 single crochet in the 3rd chain from the hook, and we will single crochet once in each chain until we get to the end of our chain. So that is 4 more single crochets. So now we have done 5 single crochets, and we have the chain 2s here that count as a single crochet, and we're at the end of our chain. So what we're going to want to do is do 1 more single crochet in that last chain here where we just single crocheted. So you're now going to have 2 single crochets in that last chain. And now we're going to keep crocheting on the other side of the chain. So now we're going to single crochet until we get back to where we started, and I like to just crochet over this tail here just so it's not just dangling. So we won't be making another single crochet in this stitch as we already have 2 single crochets. So now we're going to make 4 more, as there's 4 more spaces until we get back to the chain 2 here that counts as a single crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4. So now we are back where we started, so we will do 1 single crochet in the chains here that count as a stitch. So I will just do 1 single crochet here, and this is where I will insert my stitch marker because we're all done the first row. So I want to mark this so that we know that this is where the first row ends. So later on we know that's the last stitch of our first row. So this is what it should look like so far. So you should have 11 stitches all the way around, so let's just count them to make sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 is where my stitch marker is. So if you have 11 stitches all the way around, you're good to go. Now all we're going to do for the next 3 rows is just single crochet 11 around until you get back to your stitch marker, and then you just need to move your stitch marker to the last stitch that you made. So we're just going to single crochet all the way around until we get back to our stitch marker. And you will do this for 3 more rows, so until you have 4 rows total. So I only got 2 more stitches to go until I'm back at my stitch marker, and I'm back, so I will take it out and switch it into the stitch I just made. Now we got 2 more rows to go. So this is what your chicken nugget should look like so far. You should have 4 rows. We can count them. 1, 2, 3, 4. Same on the other side. 1, 2, 3, 4. And you have your stitch marker in the last stitch that you made. So this is when it gets a little bit different, but nothing crazy, nothing hard. So we will do 4 single crochets, just regular like we've been doing this whole time. 1, 2, 3, 4. And this is where we will make that little lump because we want the chicken nugget to have a little bit of a chicken nugget shape and not just like a rectangle or just a basic shape like that. So we will do some increases. We will do 4 increases. So what that is literally just doing 2 single crochets in 1 stitch. So we will do 4 of those. So let's start with the first one. I'm just doing 2 single crochets in that same stitch, and I will do that 4 times. Here's the second one. Third. And fourth. And now we have 3 stitches to go until we get back to our stitch markers. So we will single crochet until we get back to our stitch marker. And now we will move the stitch marker to the last stitch that we just made. And now you should have 15 stitches total, so let's count them to make sure we have 15. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So perfect, we now have 15 stitches. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to pull my hook like that a little bit so I don't pull the yarn out. And this is where we are going to add our chicken nugget's face. So we will add the eyes and the mouth. So let's do that right now. So I always start with the eyes. So I like to add them kind of like into the second row, just into some stitches. There's one, and we'll put the other one here. And now I just have to go in and put the backs of the safety eyes. I recommend not using safety eyes that are too small because you don't want them to pop right through the yarn, and that could be pretty dangerous if a kid were to swallow that and then choke on it. So we don't want that to happen. So the eyes are in, the backs are in. So now I will just embroider the mouth. So you can do a smile, you can do a straight face, you can basically do any facial expression that you want. I like to just make a little smile. And my face for my chicken nugget is all done. So the next steps for the chicken nuggets, for 2 more rows, we're just gonna crochet all the way around for 15 stitches because we have 15 stitches all the way around. So we're just going to single crochet all the way around for 2 rows. Alright, so after single crocheting around for 2 rows, this is what your chicken nugget should look like. As you can see, it's starting to look like a chicken nugget. It's starting to get the chicken nugget shape. So we are near the end. So the next thing to do is to decrease all the way around for 1 row. So I call it a decrease. Some people call it 2 single crochet together or whatever. Either way, we will decrease or 2 single crochet together all the way around. But since we have an uneven number of stitches, there will be 1 stitch left that hasn't been crocheted in when we get to the end of our row. So I am at my last decrease. And like I said, there's 1 stitch here that is not worked in because we have an uneven number of stitches. So I will just remove my stitch marker. We don't need it anymore. And I will just go ahead and do 1 more decrease. And here we are. So we have a hole left here. So I will just slip stitch right into the next stitch here. And you can cut your yarn now. So I like to leave a little bit of a tail so we can sew the hole shut once we are done stuffing. So now I will just do kind of like a little slip stitch here just to fasten it off. So now it's secure, it's not going to come undone. So the chicken nugget is basically done. Now we just need to stuff it. So you will take your polyfill. If you'd like to fluff it up, go ahead and just stuff your chicken nugget through the hole at the bottom. These chicken nuggets don't take a lot of stuffing. They're really not that big. So they're nice. They're a nice thing to make if you don't have a lot of stuffing and you don't want to use too much stuffing. I still like to make them firm enough. I don't want them to be too empty, too squishy. Obviously, once I'm done, they're still squishy, but I don't want them to feel empty or anything. So I think I'll add maybe a little bit more stuffing. This is going to be the last little bit into that little lump here. And I'm all done stuffing it, so I will now take my yarn needle and I will take the tail that we left and insert that into my yarn needle. And I will close up this hole. I like to use the front loop only when I close up holes like this, but you can use both loops, it doesn't matter. This yarn sheds when I do this, but that's fine. So I like to pull that tight and make a few knots to make sure it's secure. You wouldn't want it to come undone. And of course, with this type of yarn, there's little floofs everywhere when we do this. So I just like to make a few knots. There's no really right or wrong way to do this part as long as it's secure and won't come undone. And then I like to just weave it through a stitch in the back. I'll cut off the excess and I'll just take the end of my yarn needle to poke that end right in, make sure it's really in there and it's not gonna come poking out. And after moving all of our floofs that came off of our yarn, our chicken nugget is done. So as you can tell, these are really easy to make, really quick to make, and very beginner friendly. So if you're a beginner at crochet, these are still something you can make, and they are just adorable. They make the perfect gift. I like to display them in little baskets like this, and they do really well at markets. So if you made these and you'd like to sell them at markets, absolutely go ahead. They are great sellers for me. Like I said, I display them in the basket and people find that very cute, very funny. So I think the basket really adds a little bit of humor in these chicken nuggets, and they're just perfect for anyone. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it was helpful. I hope you guys make so many chicken nuggets. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments and I will do my best to answer all the questions. So if you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, please leave a big thumbs up and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!